Hello, this is Big Markets Think Simple. You've probably seen these yellow machines before at construction sites, on highways, even in video games. The yellow bulldozers and excavators, that's Caterpillar. But in August 2026, this 120-year-old company posted $20.5 billion in quarterly revenue for the first time in its history, more than $220 million a day. But here's the interesting part. The biggest driver wasn't bulldozers. What Caterpillar can barely make fast enough right now is power generation equipment. A company famous for digging dirt is suddenly making serious money from electricity. So why is it now standing in the middle of the AI boom? Today, I'll explain what Caterpillar sells, how it makes money, and why a famous Wall Street short seller is watching it closely. Let's get started. This video is not investment advice. It's for educational, entertainment, informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before making any investment decisions. Any investment decisions are your own responsibility. Caterpillar's story begins in 1904 on farmland in California. Farmers used huge steam tractors, but they were so heavy they sunk into muddy ground. Benjamin Holt solved the problem by replacing wheels with continuous tracks made from linked metal plates. Watching a test run, a company photographer said, "That thing crawls like a giant caterpillar." Caterpillar, and that's how the name was born. During World War I, tracked tractors hauled artillery and supplies across muddy battlefields. The British military noticed the technology, helping lead to the Mark I tank in 1916. During World War II, Caterpillar machines helped build airfields, roads, and ports. Afterward, global rebuilding turned Caterpillar into an industrial equipment giant. Now, let's look at the business. Caterpillar makes money through four major areas. First, construction industries. These are the familiar yellow excavators, bulldozers, and loaders. They dig, push dirt, load trucks, and grade roads, the basic toolbox of construction. Second, resource industries. This is mining on a completely different scale. Caterpillar sells enormous trucks and excavation equipment for copper, iron ore, gold, and other resources. A Cat 797 can haul hundreds of tons at once. Mining companies care less about sticker price than the cost of moving 1 ton of material. If a pricier truck carries more and breaks down less, it can still be cheaper overall. Caterpillar is selling mining efficiency, not just a truck. Third, power and energy. Caterpillar makes engines, generators, and gas turbines for hospitals, factories, ships, and now data centers. It once looked like a supporting business. Today, it has become the story's biggest surprise. Fourth, financial products. Caterpillar offers financing and leasing. In simple terms, it sells the machine and can also lend you the money to buy it. So why has Caterpillar stayed near the top despite global competition? One major answer is its dealer network. Caterpillar supports customers in 190 countries through about 150 independent dealers. Caterpillar's logistics network can move parts hundreds of miles overnight and often get equipment repaired by the next morning. That helps explain why new Caterpillar machines can cost 10 to 15% more, while used machines can still sell for 5 to 10% more. Caterpillar also rebuilds old engines and components through Cat Reman and sells them again. Customers save money while Caterpillar earns again from equipment it already sold. Its future investment is centered on autonomy and software. By 2025, more than 800 autonomous mining trucks were already operating at real mines. Caterpillar is now connecting those trucks with mine planning software, terrain data, and equipment controls. That's Caterpillar's basic structure. But today, the biggest moneymaker is no longer bulldozers. Now let's look at the twist. Start with the numbers. Caterpillar's revenue grew from $51.0 billion in 2021 to $67.6 billion in 2025, about 7% annually. Operating profit reached $13.1 billion in 2024, then fell to $11.2 billion in 2025 as tariffs and manufacturing costs rose. But the mix changed dramatically. In 2021, construction industries generated about $22.1 billion, more than power and energy at $20.3 billion. By 2025, construction had reached $25.1 billion, growing around 3% a year, while power and energy had jumped to $32.2 billion, growing more than 12% annually. Power and energy also accounted for roughly 46% of operating profit. The main reason is AI data centers. AI data centers consume enormous amounts of electricity, while grid expansion cannot keep pace. That makes on-site generation and backup power more valuable. Caterpillar's gas turbines can generate electricity on site, while large diesel and gas generators keep service running during outages. Caterpillar now touches both ends of AI infrastructure, from excavators preparing sites to turbines and backup generators supplying power. And in 2026, the shift became even clearer. In the second quarter, Caterpillar reported $20.5 billion in revenue, up 24% year over year. Operating profit rose from about $2.9 billion to $4.3 billion, nearly 50%, while adjusted EPS jumped from $7.72 to $8.17. Generator retail sales rose 72% year over year. Caterpillar also secured a 2-gigawatt project in West Virginia, roughly comparable to 2 large nuclear reactors. Its backlog reached about $72 billion, and some customers are already reserving equipment for 2030. Think of a restaurant booked 4 years in advance. CEO Joe Creed said during the earnings call, "At this point, we're not seeing customers slow down." So, how long can it last? Caterpillar now believes power generation revenue could nearly triple by 2030 from 2024 levels. It previously expected roughly a doubling, but raised the outlook as data center demand accelerated. U.S. electricity demand is moving the same way, with AI data centers and electrification expected to push consumption to record highs in 2026 and 2027. But the market is watching Caterpillar for risks as well as growth, tariffs, competition, and already high expectations. Now let's look at the other side. The first risk is tariffs. Caterpillar is American, but its supply chain is global. Tariffs on steel, components, and raw materials raise manufacturing costs. Caterpillar expects roughly $2.2 billion in additional tariff costs in 2026. If costs rise faster than sales, profits can still shrink. The second risk is competition. Japan's Komatsu is a major rival in construction and mining equipment, including autonomous mining. Chinese manufacturers such as Sany and XCMG are growing in emerging markets with lower prices. Better service and parts networks could weaken Caterpillar's advantage. In power generation, Cummins and GE Vernova are expanding capacity for data centers. If supply expands sharply, price competition could increase. Finally, there's Michael Burry, the investor made famous for The Big Short. Known for betting against housing before the 2008 crisis, Burry said he shorted Caterpillar in late June 2026 when the stock was around $1,060. He had owned Caterpillar shares before. This time, his concern wasn't the equipment, but a stock price he believed had risen too quickly on AI expectations. That doesn't mean he will be right. Caterpillar later reported strong earnings and the stock rebounded sharply. But his question matters. Are today's generator and turbine orders real long-term demand lasting through 2030? Or are they a temporary boom created by an AI investment rush? That leaves two views of Caterpillar's future. One side sees AI data centers, power shortages, mine automation, and infrastructure spending pushing Caterpillar into a new growth era. The other warns that tariffs, rising costs, stronger competition, and high expectations could eventually become a problem. Can a century-old machinery company reinvent itself for the AI era? Or are we watching the most optimistic moment in Caterpillar's history? Caterpillar began in 1904 by solving a simple problem: tractors getting stuck in mud. From there, it moved through war, industrialization, Antarctica, and space. Now it's supplying power for AI data centers. Over 1 century, the load Caterpillar carries has changed, from mud to war to ice to space, and now to data. But its basic role has stayed the same, taking on massive problems that are too heavy for others to handle alone. If you had to describe Caterpillar in one sentence, that may be the simplest way to put it. What did you think of today's video? If you enjoyed it, subscribing and liking the video really helps the channel. Thanks for watching.